Let's begin by telling you that the immediate former Kogi State Governor, Yahaya Bello, has arrived at the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja for the hearing on alleged 110 billion naira fraud preferred against him. Now, Bello was declared wanted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in April 2024. He reported at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja on Tuesday and was squeezed. He was taken to court on Wednesday morning. Since filing the charges against the former governor, the Commission has not been able to bring him to court for arraignment. The Commission had initially filed 19 charges against Bello, along with his nephews Ali Bello, Dauda Suleiman, and Abdusalam Hudu, for money laundering offences amounting to over 80 billion naira. Now let's go to the energy sector, where after several postponements, the Port Harcourt refinery has finally commenced fuel production. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, confirmed this on its X handle on Tuesday. Our correspondent, Bernard Akede, gives us a brief history of the refinery.
The Port Harcourt Refinery Company is a subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL. Located in Alesa, Eleme, just to the southeast of Port Harcourt, the company operates 2 oil refineries, including an old plant commissioned in 1965 that can process 60,000 barrels per stream day, as well as a new plant commissioned in 1989, which has a capacity of 150,000 barrels per stream day. Both oil refineries possess a combined capacity of 210,000 barrels per stream day. Sadly, the refinery in Port Harcourt, along with other state-owned refineries in the country, has only utilized a fraction of its capacity in recent decades due to inefficient processes and lack of maintenance. This has led to Nigeria, Africa's largest crude oil producer, becoming increasingly reliant on imports of refined petroleum products. In March 2021, the Nigerian government approved expenditure of $1.5 billion for the refurbishment and modernization of the refinery complex in Port Harcourt. The main contract for the modernization for the refinery was also awarded in the same month. The renovation project for the refinery in Port Harcourt, which will be carried out in 3 phases, is scheduled for completion by 2025. After several postponements, the Port Harcourt refinery has finally commenced fuel production.
It's very important to know that you can't do this without leadership support and encouragement. And with that combination, this plan has come live today. It's going to solve some of the energy security issues in our country, and we are very proud that this has been done, and it's really a very fulfilling moment, this moment for everyone working in NNPC, and also to our shareholders, that we have delivered value to our shareholders, and this is what they expect from us.
In an update on X, the NNPCL said NNPC Limited delivers Port Harcourt refinery as plant begins truck out of products Tuesday, 26 November 2024 at 1:45 p.m.
Last week, you can see the price coming down. Partly is because there is ample availability of products because marketers, because of removal of subsidy by Mr. President, which has been done well last year, but again, the adjustment to reflect the actual price have made other marketers to import, so there's more choice, more availability.
The refinery will start with 60,000 barrels capacity per day, releasing premium motor spirit, diesel, and others into the Nigerian market.
For today, on the port of NNPC, the price still remains 1,045 naira. But the challenge we are having, and the GMD has promised to do something about it as it concerns the selling rate of Dangote. Dangote is selling 970 naira per liter, while NNPC is still selling to us 1,045 naira. A difference of variation of 75 naira per liter. And you know, a businessman appreciates 1 kobo as a discount, so there's no business. So hence, the troop in and the rush and the high traffic that we should be occasion arising from today is a bit less, but I think going forward, NNPC will review its price going forward.
The Port Harcourt refinery would be the second petrol-producing refinery after the Dangote refinery commenced PMS production in September. Before now, promises made to Nigerians by the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the NNPCL about the refinery failed 7 times. The hope is that with this refinery now up and running alongside the Dangote refinery, issues concerning fuel scarcity and price hikes could soon become a thing of the past, not forgetting the other two state-owned refineries in Warri and Kaduna. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
Now, in the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on the successful revitalization of the Port Harcourt refinery. Tinubu also urged NNPC Limited to expedite the scheduled reactivation of the second Port Harcourt refinery and the Warri and Kaduna refineries. This is according to a press release by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, on Tuesday, made available to journalists in Abuja. Meanwhile, NNPCL has responded to misleading claims circulating in certain quarters, which allege that the refinery is not producing product. The NNPC said the old Port Harcourt refinery is currently running at 70% of its installed capacity, with plans to ramp up 90%. Earlier on, we're joined by Suraj Oyewale, Chartered Accountant and Director, Fortrose Consulting.
The economics generally, when there is more supply, there is meant to be reduction in prices. So that is the natural thing that is expected to happen in standard economic theory. And so one would expect that to happen as well, because this refining, this newly refurbished refinery is going to pump in 1.4 million liters of PMS back into the nation's supply. And I believe that everything is going to be domestically, supply the domestic market. So I would want to believe that government would also, this will transform to a reduction in the prices of PMS. I mean, we go with one of the marketers complaining that Dangote currently says at 170 naira per liter for PMS. That's the price at the wholesale level. Then at the retail level, it's going to be a little bit higher than that when we consider the margin of the marketers. But that stands at more than 1,000 naira per liter at NNPC portal. So we expect NNPC to also reduce this now, because this is something that also the overarching NNPC, even though it has been commercialized, okay, is still the representative of Nigerian government in oil and gas industry. So their principal mandate, apart from the commercial, is to ensure that there is availability and affordability of energy in the country. So I would want to believe that with the new supply injection to the system, there should be a reduction in prices. Maybe not so significant, but I expect there to be some sort of reduction.
Now to security matters, Vice President Shettima has directed the adoption of technology-driven strategies to combat terrorism, cybercrime, and border security challenges facing Nigeria and the entire African continent. Shettima said while Africa and Nigeria were currently navigating some of the most troubling times in areas such as security and economy, the challenges required innovative solutions. Speaking in Abuja when he received in audience members of Executive Intelligence Management Course 17 from the National Institute for Security Studies, Shettima acknowledged the current security and economic challenges in Nigeria. He stated that advancements in artificial intelligence presented significant opportunities for improvement in critical sectors of the economy. To further discuss this now, I'm joined by Alex Okonkwo, security expert and public affairs analyst. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you.
An absolute pleasure having you join us as well. Now, Alex, in light of Vice President Shettima's call for technology-driven strategies to address security challenges, how exactly can AI and other emerging technologies effectively integrate into Nigeria's national security framework, especially in combating terrorism and cybercrime?
Oh, yes, that's a big file. Thank God for the Vice President saying such a thing at such a time, because we have a lot of fintech that are doing a lot of good work in terms of the financial sector, but they're not doing quite a lot in security. So all he's saying is that a lot of people should start thinking of what they can do in the security sector as well. To be precise to your question, it's going to help us in various ways. We're going to be able to even combat enemies that are hacking into our system because we still have that risk. So we ourselves have to dot ourselves with a strong AI-based security system that can help us combat hacking into our own security systems. That's the first thing. The second thing is we're going to have a good geo-mapping system, which we don't have currently. That is, know where the forests are, know how people are moving, use laser, use body reconnaissance. These things have to be developed by Nigerians, or at least take the technology that exists out there and adapt them to what we have in Nigeria. The other thing is that our military is going to be able to use it. A lot of the combat we have now are asymmetric. It means it's not with military. We're not fighting an army. We're fighting people that move around. They're very dynamic. They move in groups of 50 up to groups of 200, and they move on bikes. So if we're going to use our armored vehicles, they have to be AI assisted, because sometimes you would have to shoot without actually seeing, as in physically, but then you're seeing through technology. So all those things, and it's going to even help the command unit in terms of planning and strategy. So in other words, what the Vice President is saying is that, please, young people into tech should not only focus on banking and payment services. We have quite a lot of that. I mean, all the brands that we have in terms of payment systems, but we're not doing a lot in terms of assisting the security aspect of it. So we have the able people, we have very smart people, we have very intelligent people, both home and abroad, but they should come and invest in security. That said, he's also shooting the federal government on its own foot, because he's saying the federal government itself should be open to those people when they come, because they're going to be partnerships. Everybody's in it for the money. Those companies are not going to leave the banking system and go to the security system if it's not viable for them. So the federal government will have to do its part as well. But ideally, he's saying young people, come into security, bring your technology, let's work for the safety of the country.
Right. Now, Nigeria and the broader African continent face significant security and economic challenges. What role do you believe cybersecurity plays in safeguarding national security, and how can the governments better protect their digital infrastructure from internal and external threats?
Okay, yes, we're already doing quite a lot with our neighboring countries. We work a lot with other organizations like the IBSM, Interpol, and all that. So we're doing quite a lot in that sense. What we're not doing enough is because of the political problems we've had recently, with countries like Niger and Burkina Faso who have moved into a military regime. So we're a little bit, is more diplomatic. The problems are more diplomatic than because already with the US, the UK, and France particularly, we already have organizations that help us assist in exchanging information within the West African zone. I'm talking of within the ECOWAS zone. So a lot is being done already. But of course, what we need to do is to increase finance and increase human resources. Let me explain this. It is not enough to have the information that a group of people are going to cross our border from Niger Republic and come into Sokoto. When you have that information, you also need people on ground to go and intervene. So what we are doing well is that we're implementing systems that will allow us to recognize people, but we're not doing enough in terms of, okay, let me give you an example. If you recognize somebody, you still have to put his picture on a database and hope that you have his database through his NIN. So if you don't have his NIN, there's no need having the face. The face will not show you anything. It's the same thing with DNA. You must have a data bank of DNAs to be able to recognize that somebody's DNA was there at the crime. So what I'm saying is that there are two sides of the same coin, actually. If we don't do the physical aspect, the online aspect or the digital aspect, as we say, will not be so useful, because at the end of the day, you still have to recognize 200 million Nigerians to be able to use their information properly, which brings us to the other problems linked to that, of course, but we'll talk about that later. So what I'm going to say in this aspect is that we're already doing a lot. We can't say everything here in terms of digital security, satellite assistance through the US, through the Europe. There's something called EPSWA. So it's the European Union assisting West African countries with security apparatus. There's a lot of training going on already in terms of manpower, but we need to do the groundwork. So we need people on ground as well to collaborate with the information you've gotten online. You see what I'm saying? When you get information online, it has to be verified. Otherwise, you are shooting at the wrong people. So it's holistic. We cannot just separate the cybersecurity aspect of it. With all the advantages it has, we cannot separate it from the general security infrastructure that should be on ground.
So very quickly, the Vice President Shettima did mention that the current security challenges in Africa require innovative solutions. How can countries like Nigeria collaborate with technology firms and international partners to develop and implement solutions for border security, especially considering the vast and often porous nature of African borders?
That is it. That's what he's saying. He's saying, please bring out your ideas. Young people should bring out their ideas. We need African-based satellites that can give us information the way we understand it in Nigeria. Not everybody will understand the codes, international codes. I mean, you're talking of in a forest in Sokoto. Our military are already top-notch. I can tell you that. We already work with AFRICOM. We have the Trans-Saharan Counter-Terrorism Partnership, and that has been training people for over 10 years. It's not something new. We have the West African Security Project that has been on for a while, so a lot of capacity building, people are being trained. The thing is, younger people are not going there. We're talking of the next generations. They are not going there. So this call actually is to say, go in there, bring that new, that new zeal that they have, the Gen Zs I'm talking about, and go in there and do something. This is civil military cooperation he's talking about. He's not saying we need more soldiers in that sense. He's saying there's the civilian aspect to it. And so it comes back to what we said earlier. Let's get our younger guys who are very bright. Some of our Nigerians are the best internet guys, the best AI guys around the world. They have to come and help the country. But for this to happen, the government itself has to open itself. So yes, collaboration can work. Private companies are already there. Private security companies are already working. Niger Republic, for example, is using a lot of private security companies because the Wagner Group itself has to work with private security apparatus over there. So we can do the same here and control our borders. Of course, that also needs customs, people from the customs and excise. It needs more immigration officers who are like tech savvy. You see what I'm saying? It's not about carrying the gun. It's tech savvy and being able to analyze information, being able to digest information, and actually be able to observe and allow our planning and strategy. So it's a big file. The vice president just said it that way, casually almost. But it's actually a very big file, and it should be the biggest file in terms of security because we've been doing all the rest. We've been bombarding, as you know, but we're not actually very proactive. That's we're not catching them before they act, which is what we should be doing, which is what cybersecurity and AI will help us to do.
All right. Okay. Alex Okonkwo, security expert and public affairs analyst, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on this.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
You too. All right, still live with us on the news. We go on a short break now, and when we come back, retirees set to occupy finance ministry over unpaid pensions. We have the details of the story and more after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's now tell you that Vice President Shettima has left for Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire from Abuja to attend the opening of the International Exhibition of Extractive and Energy Resources 2024 conference. The event holds from November 27 to December 2nd, 2024 at the Abidjan Exhibition Center. In a statement released on Wednesday, Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Communication, Mr. Stanley Nkwocha, said that the VP's visit is at the invitation of Côte d'Ivoire's Vice President, Tiemoko Mele Kone. The CIREX conference, organized by the government of Côte d'Ivoire, focuses on policies and strategy for the sustainable development of the extractive and energy industries. According to Nkwocha, Shettima will share Nigeria's experience in the hydrocarbon exploration and production sectors at the event. Now, pensioners under the contributory pension scheme are demanding the federal government release outstanding accrued gratuities from March 2023 to November 2024. They're also seeking payment of unpaid pension increments, including increases in 2007, 2010, and 2024. The pensioners are calling on the government to declare a state of emergency in the CPS sector and clear all liabilities before December 16, 2024. They've threatened to occupy the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation in Abuja until their demands are met. The Pensioners Union leadership says they have the mandate of their members nationwide to take this action. Nigeria's Minister of Youth Development says that efforts are underway to ensure that all government ministries, agencies, and parastatals accept serving corps members assigned to them for the mandatory National Youth Service Corps program. The minister made this known during the maiden edition of the ministry's media interaction with newsmen following his assumption of office. Our correspondent, Joseph Imarai, reports.
The need to update citizens and youth on the latest policies of government was the driving force behind Nigeria's Minister of Youth Development hosting his first media interaction after assuming office. The engagement held in the nation's capital, Abuja, brought together correspondents and ministry representatives under one roof. During the interaction, the minister announced that plans are already underway to ensure that all government ministries, departments and agencies accept serving corps members assigned to them.
In part of the memo that we sent to NYSC, we stated it there clearly that no barrier, no. You know, before there was a barrier that corps members cannot be posted to this, cannot. Banks, come and take them. If you don't have experience in banking, how do you want to know that you are good in accounting or whatever? Very soon, we are also going to get a memo to the president to tell any government, parastatals and agencies not to reject anymore. It's a process now. We can't do everything once. The one in our capacity, we've thrown it out.
The minister also updated citizens on the planned increment of allowances for youth corps members.
On Alawi, it's a process. When government increase is so, it will follow a process. We are in the process. Very soon they will see it. It is not a rocket science. It has been increased. Nobody is saying that it has not been increased, but the implementation is a process. And very soon, we are at the tip of it. It's going to start and we implement it perfectly.
He emphasized the importance of collaboration and capacity building in advancing the nation's development agenda. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now, Namibia's vice president was among the first to vote in Wednesday's election, which could make her the country's first female leader. This comes as her ruling SWAPO party faces a strong challenge to its 34-year hold on power. Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, the 72-year-old veteran of the Southwest Africa People's Organization, cast her ballot in the capital, Windhoek, as polls opened at 7 a.m. Following her vote, she encouraged the public to vote before polls close at 9 p.m., emphasizing that the outcome would affect both citizens and visitors. SWAPO has governed Namibia since its independence in 1990, but with ongoing issues such as high unemployment and persistent inequalities, Nandi Ndaitwah may face a second-round runoff if she doesn't secure at least half the vote. Now, IPC opposition party leader Panduleni Itula cast his vote in the general elections in Namibia. These presidential and legislative elections are pivotal as they could upset the ruling Southwest Africa People's Organization's 34-year grip on power. The 67-year-old former dentist and lawyer who founded the Independent Patriots for Change, the IPC party, in 2020 after leaving SWAPO, lost to SWAPO leader Gengo, taking only 28% of votes in the 2019 elections. In his polling station in Windhoek, Itula affirmed that he's optimistic that his 4-year-old party could unseat the revolutionary movement.
The decency with which we conducted this electoral process is absolutely admirable, and I'm absolutely proud, one, for all the political party leaders that conducted themselves in such a manner and also their followers. We had a beautiful campaign as Namibians. If that come the elections that we expect to be in favor of IPC and its candidate, everyone else will have the decency and the spirit.
And in Central Africa now, Amnesty International has accused Angolan police of killing at least 17 protesters with excessive force, including live bullets, over the past 30 months. The group says none of the officers responsible have faced justice and that police have frequently used force unnecessarily, violating Angolan and international law. The deadliest incident occurred in January 2021 when police killed at least 10 people at an anti-poverty protest in Kafunfo. The current president, João Lourenço, has been in power since 2017 and is set to meet with U.S. President Joe Biden next month. Amnesty International is calling for an investigation into the allegations of police killings and human rights violations. Now, Egypt has released video footage of tourists rescued from a boat that capsized off the Red Sea coast, where at least 4 people died. The Sea Story vessel overturned on Sunday and 33 people were rescued, including tourists seen in the video stepping off a speedboat draped in blankets. 7 people remaining missing. The tourists had spent at least 24 hours inside the overturned vessel before rescuers found them. A military-led team rescued 2 Belgians, 1 Swiss national, 1 Finnish tourist, and 1 Egyptian. The Red Sea governor said the boat capsized suddenly and quickly after being struck by a strong wave. And outside the African continent, a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon has taken effect on Wednesday after over a year of war that has claimed thousands of lives. Following this, residents have been seen slowly returning to the southern suburbs of Beirut. The ceasefire, which took effect at 4 a.m., is expected to bring an end to the ravaging war, which has displaced hundreds of thousands of people in Lebanon after they were forced to leave their homes. The war began when Hezbollah launched cross-border attacks in support of its Palestinian ally, Hamas, after its October 7, 2023 assault on Israel. On Tuesday, U.S. President Joe Biden announced a ceasefire agreement, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed that his ministers had agreed to the halt.
برعب أكثر ما تتصور والحمد لله يعني اللي صار الله يرحم الشهداء والله يرجع الناس كلها على بيوتها يجعل الضيعة بلطف الله والله اللي يشفع علينا بس إن شاء الله نكون تعلمنا من هالحياة ومن
French President Emmanuel Macron has called for the end of the war in Gaza, suggesting that the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon should open the path for ending that in Gaza. He said this in a video posted on X, adding that it shows that only political courage can provide long-term peace and stability in the Middle East. He also said that the restoration of Lebanon's sovereignty requires the immediate election of a president of the republic.
Cet accord doit là aussi ouvrir la voie à un cessez-le-feu trop longtemps attendu face aux souffrances sans commune mesure de la population de Gaza. La restauration de la souveraineté du Liban passe par l'élection sans délai d'un président de la République, capable de rassembler les Libanais par la formation aussi d'un gouvernement fort et représentatif, et par l'adoption des réformes nécessaires au redressement économique et financier du pays. Oui, l'accord qui vient d'être signé montre la voie d'un courage politique qui seul peut donner à tous au Moyen-Orient la paix et la sécurité.
Now to business. Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, has called on Lagos State to lead in expanding the country's economic base, emphasizing the state's unique role as a driver of national economic growth. Speaking at the Eco Revenue Plus Summit, Edun, represented by the CEO of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, stressed the need for Lagos to adopt innovative revenue strategies beyond traditional tax compliance. Edun highlighted that Lagos accounts for 25% of Nigeria's GDP, yet its budget is small compared to federal allocations. He urged the state to focus on policies that attract investments and expand the economic base, rather than solely rely on tax revenues. The minister emphasized the importance of public-private partnerships, digital asset management, and stronger collaboration between Lagos and the federal government to mobilize resources and ensure sustainable development. Now, the Director General of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, Dr. Chinyere Almona, and other stakeholders have called for improved management of policy reforms by the Nigerian government. At the Parthian Economic Discourse 2024, experts discussed the 2025 macroeconomic outlook for Nigeria. Financial Derivatives Company's Management Director, Bismarck Rewane, highlighted that global events will impact the Nigerian economy. He expressed concerns about the Naira's depreciation, stating the need for a well-managed exchange rate system. The LCCI DG noted that Nigeria could attract more foreign direct investments if the government treats local investors well. Other panelists emphasized the importance of financial inclusion, digital transformation, and an enabling environment to attract infrastructure investment. They urged the government to create policies that encourage private sector participation for sustainable economic growth. And to sports, league leaders told Marine Academy and Safety Babes will aim to maintain their top spot in the second phase of the Nigeria Handball League as they face Correctional Boys and River Queens when hostilities resume in Lagos on Wednesday. In other games slated for Wednesday in the female category, Bendel Dynamos will take on Delta Queens, Defender Babes clash with Rima Queens, Seasiders Babes will take on COAS Shooters, while Plateau Peacocks take Imo Grasshoppers. Now, other games in the male category will see Adamawa Warriors battle Confluence Stars, Lagos Seasiders take on Kano Pillars, Sunshine Kings play Niger United, Benue Buffaloes lock horns with Safety Shooters, while D Defenders clash Rima Stars, or Rima Strikers rather. Still in sports, the Football Association says it is investigating an allegation that referee David Coote discussed giving a yellow card with a fan before a championship match. Coote says he denies the new claims and calls them false and defamatory allegations. The referee is already under investigation by the FA and has been suspended by refereeing body, the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, PGMOL, and European Football's governing body, UEFA, following separate allegations about his conduct. A new report in the Sun newspaper on Tuesday claimed Coote exchanged messages with a fan discussing giving a yellow card before and after a game between Leeds and West Brom in 2019. The exchange refers to a booking Leeds defender, Ezjan Alioski, received in the match from Coote. There's no suggestion of any financial gain by Coote, and the booking is regarded as entirely correct. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that Yahaya Bello arrives FCT court over 110 billion naira fraud case. We also mentioned retirees set to occupy finance ministry over unpaid pensions. And finally, we mentioned Namibia begins voting. Vice President among early voters urges full participation. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, StarTimes, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Blessings Osugu.